Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn always says, be where your feet are. Now that's sometimes easier said than done, especially this week for the Dallas Cowboys, whose regular season finale is against the Washington Commanders, but there's all of these postseason playoff seeding things going on. How do you think the Cowboys can stay focused on this Sunday rather than looking ahead?
Well, and as it relates to Quinn, that really is a good life philosophy.
Oh, I agree.
That's a good dad lesson.
Yeah.
Because part of what he's saying, of course, when he's speaking about that specifically, is his job situation, which we'll get to momentarily. But just to kind of broadcast through the building the idea that we have to practice today. We have a game this week.
Yeah.
Let's not worry about Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. we can talk about it and worry about it, but they would be foolish to do that. So, be where your feet are, and then there's another branch of that, which is to choose happiness, which is another thing that Dan Quinn likes to talk about. Again, this particular week in the NFL, which we'll get to, that's a struggle for a lot of us, and certainly, obviously, players, coaches, and staffers. But anybody who's associated with the game of football in any way is shaken or worse as we try to work through this situation with Damar Hamlin.
Right, absolutely. The Washington Commanders have decided to make a change at quarterback ahead of playing the Cowboys. Benching Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke will start. Maybe Sam Howell will get some action. What do you see when you look at this matchup? I'm
a big fan of Ron Rivera, the person, and the burden on him with this Washington organization, where he's not just the coach. He helped pick the nickname. He's instrumental in every single thing they do as they try to rehab Daniel Snyder's organization, and he should be applauded for all of it. But you still got to win football games, and
7 wins is not that many.
And especially when they had control of their own destiny, so to speak. Washington loses 3 straight. They do the last loss in a faithful way because I think there was a lot of people in Washington, certainly fans, that didn't particularly want to see Carson Wentz again. Not that Taylor Heineke had done it all right, but he had helped them to a winning record during his time. It's clear that the locker room, I don't know if the locker room has a problem with Carson Wentz, but they certainly are excited about Taylor Heineke. And now Coach Rivera is saying, no regrets about that. That's the kind of thing that might help fuel you getting fired. When you make what turned out to be a mistake, and it doesn't work out, and then whether it's through loyalty or stubbornness, you keep saying it wasn't a mistake. That's problematic. So if it wasn't a mistake, why don't they play Carson Wentz this week? Well, in part because it's time to see Sam Howell. And I would add this: it's not time to see Taylor Heineke. He is now a known commodity. He is a very capable and inspirational backup quarterback.
Provides a great spark.
Absolutely, and I like to call him a folk hero kind of guy. He's not big enough, and he's not good enough, and he's not. But he does that. And so let that be. I don't know why Washington wants to see more of him. You've seen plenty of him. You need to find out if Sam Howell is a legitimate quarterback of the future candidate. Otherwise, you got to start all over again. The Dallas Cowboys obviously are, by the time they get to thinking about football again, probably licking their chops at the idea of, hurry up and put Sam Howell in there, and let's go put a win in our pocket. That would be the Cowboys' plan. 5.5-point favorites before the quarterbacking change move. We'll see how that moves the line. But it is not an enviable situation for Wentz, who is on his last legs as a starter, you would think, for Ron Rivera, who might be on shaky foundation as well.
Wentz getting booed off the field, it's just not a good thing for him, for the franchise. Anybody.
And for you as a fan who did that, it's your dollar. As long as you don't throw garbage at anybody, you have the right to boo. But it was a really unfortunate scene all around that kind of just put the Washington season and maybe the Washington franchise in a time capsule of sorts.
Let's get to an injury update of the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Pollard did not play last week. What are you hearing about Pollard?
He had that Thursday game at Tennessee been played on Friday, he might have played. Had it been played on Sunday, I think he would have played. So he is out here in the backyard practicing right now, and he looks good to go. They obviously, there's a part of them that would like to get him his 12 yards and to get to 1,000 yards. But that's secondary. That should just come pretty naturally as long as he gets his normal work. But clearly, for reasons that I don't know why people are still arguing about on social media, the Cowboys still have plenty to play for. They can be, the fifth seed is most likely, and a trip to Tampa Bay to start the playoffs against Tom Brady, who, by the way, is 7-0 against the Cowboys. Blick. There's a possibility of climbing up, and then you get Aaron Rodgers at AT&T Stadium, who is 8-2 against you. Blick. I've been saying, because a lot of fans smartly are correcting my pick your poison, their view, and it's a smart view, is let's slay a dragon. Which dragon should we slay?
Okay, I like that look. That's kind of a Dan Quinn outlook.
And it's a smart way to do it. Cowboys will be favored, certainly at home against the Packers, and I think that Tampa Bay's 8-8. I would think the Cowboys would be favored.
And have struggled on offense.
No question about that. Even with Tom Brady. Now, again, the problem is, Aaron Rodgers, the first half of the season, struggled until he played Dallas. So those two guys are flip a switch guys. The idea that Tom Brady might do it one more time, and then maybe one more time after that, is legitimate. And the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. But the Cowboys are putting themselves in position where and the schedule maker too, because all these games started 3:25 Central Time, so you won't know that this game's meaningless, and so you push all your chips in on this one.
Let's look ahead to the NFL playoffs. A lot has been made about quarterback Dak Prescott's turnovers. Now, how concerned are you with his turnovers as he heads into the playoffs?
Cowboys Jerry Jones, the owner, says not concerned about turnovers in the playoffs. That's not going to be the difference. And of course, hopefully what he means is we have such faith in Dak Prescott that it's not going to be an issue. Is it an unfair issue? The numbers are the numbers. The Cowboys' offense has the most interceptions. That's fair. That doesn't mean they're all on the quarterback, and I think most smart football fans recognize that. You have to be a Dak Prescott hater, which, by the way, I don't know how you live your life that way, but you would have to be a Dak Prescott hater to pretend that 14 interceptions are all his fault. That's simply not true. Maybe part of what Jerry's saying is, I don't anticipate that balls are going to bounce off our receivers' hands, heads, chests, and legs in the postseason, and we won't be playing volleyball in the receivers' room. That's a legitimate thought. This organization believes that one of the reasons they can and will win is Dak Prescott. And we talk about this a lot, Bree. Dak Prescott, the player, Dak Prescott, the person. And you can't have one without the other. And if you put the whole package together, I think Cowboy fans have a reason to have faith. Even though it's been a quarter of a century since, it would help the Cowboy fans' faith if the Cowboys would win a playoff game or more.
I agree. Donovan Wilson leads all defensive backs in the NFL with 5 sacks. Now, as you look at the Dallas Cowboys defense, do you feel like he's been the biggest surprise this season?
They have, again, Dan Quinn is a part of this, Will McClay is a part of this, but they have assembled guys who aren't necessarily great players, and I don't mean that as an insult to Donovan or anybody else, but they're great playmakers. Curse at safety is that. Trayvon Diggs might be a great player, but also a great playmaker. The rookie Bland in the defensive backfield with his interceptions, that's been a phenomenal discovery for the Cowboys. At defensive line, we all know about Micah Parsons as a pass rusher, but they bring Dorrance Armstrong and they bring Sam Williams, and so playmaking is what this defense does, and Wilson fits right in. By the way, they've got the 3 safeties who all play. The other 2 are under contract for next year. Wilson not under contract, so that's in the back of a player's mind. It's not the forefront, but I'm playing for a contract. That can motivate a guy to go be even better, and maybe Donovan Wilson will do just that.
Truly.